All right, guys, welcome back to Remotely Wasted. This is our college football week 2 reaction. We got the top 25 pulled up that came out a couple of days ago. This weekend was pretty good. It wasn't quite as interesting as week 1, but there was still some movement. The bottom part of the top 25, I think, is really interesting. We got Clemson falling off
Or
the top 25. How
bye,
do you feel about
Felicia.
that?
No, I'm cool with it. I'm sure they'll be ranked again by the time we play them. So if they
Yeah,
win this week, I can't remember who they play this week.
yeah, I'm not sure
Um,
who they play,
yeah, they got
but
86 votes. Like that's quite a bit sitting there. Um, and some of these undefeated teams, I'm sure will lose. Then they'll just
yeah,
go
it
hop
was
back in there.
it was weird because Clemson they won, so they you don't usually drop after you win, but they struggled
Yeah,
a little bit early on, but they ended up winning
man,
pretty decisively.
they were tied at like a certain point, and I was like, oh, is this it?
Is it over?
Is it over? Like, is Dabo gonna get fired today? Because I would imagine if they lose a game like that, like, that's grounds for getting fired,
It
regardless.
is. I mean, you'd think
I don't
he's
think they
built up
would
some
have.
goodwill.
I don't think they would have done it, but it would have been interesting because all the fans that have been coming for him, and oh, it was actually Venables' team. Like he's the reason we were good, which is kind of looking like that's possibly true.
It's kind of a mess down there in Clemson. They got replaced
Yeah.
by Iowa, which I don't know if you saw any highlights or anything of
I'm
Iowa
curious.
State.
I'm curious about Iowa with they have McNamara from Michigan.
Yeah, he didn't look that great against Iowa State. I mean, the defense looked like an Iowa defense, really, really good.
Yeah,
I think he only threw for 100 some yards, but I mean, he got the job done, which is more
yeah.
than you could say about Spencer Petras a year ago. At least he, when it matters, he figures something out. It
Man,
was a big game.
I feel like every year like Iowa's like a goddamn quarterback away from a national championship. Their defenses are always just insane, and if they have someone to throw the ball that's not completely incompetent, then they should at least probably make the Big Ten conference championship.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be a trap team in the Big Ten, especially with
Yeah,
McNamara. At least having somebody who's at least decent enough to
man.
complete
Hold
passes.
on. Do they play Ohio State this year? Because I think they could beat them.
I think they probably do. No, they
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
don't.
Oh, fucking Ohio State's lucky.
They
Like
don't play Michigan either.
they're counting their I don't know where I was going with that. I just lost it. But yeah,
It's
they get it.
rigged.
This is a super favorable schedule for Iowa. Well, this I think that'll be the first time we'll really see what Penn State's kind of made of. They're gonna play a good defense. And then we'll kind of see what Iowa's made of too. So they could lose this game and still have a really good year because I think they could win out.
Yeah,
So
after Penn State, yeah.
Wisconsin's not looking any good this year, having just lost, and we'll see about Nebraska going forward. But I don't think they're going to be good either, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be too good. I think Nebraska, unfortunately, is kind of in a OU
They're,
situation from last
they're
year.
not back.
Matt Rule is gonna turn that team around. I think it's just a matter of when, not if. But
I think
they need something.
it'll probably take them about 3 years. That's kind of the common thing with here the more recent successful coaches. It's about year 3 or 4 they're kind of turning it on because that's when your recruits finally start getting in, and your whole team is your team, like the guys that you wanted for your scheme.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The unfortunate thing is when you're at a school like Nebraska, they're so impatient
Yeah. Well,
that
I don't know,
they
man.
do that type of stuff.
They fucking sell out their stadium every game, even when they're not winning. So like, what's gonna like what do they got to lose? You might as well stick with this guy that you just got from the NFL. Like it's probably the best person you're gonna get. Like who else is out there that they could go pull to Nebraska? Like who wants to go to Nebraska? First
Yeah,
off,
exactly. I mean, Dion was available when that spot was open, and I
and
think they might have even offered it to him, and he didn't
I'm
want
sure
it.
they did. I would have offered you on anything. You could have the school. We'll change it to Dion University. Oh, bro, that'd be fucking sick.
You could have a portion of the ticket sales and
Oh man, yeah, exactly.
for
So
life.
Nebraska is just not a favorable like destination. I'm sure they have a dope campus, a dope football stadium, and athletics department. I'm sure it's all really good. It's just Nebraska's not really a destination that transfers want to go to, or high school players that are highly rated that have offers from other schools and better competing positions and or locations like UCLA or something like that. May not be a good
Yeah,
school, but you're in California. So
exactly. I mean, I think if they start winning, that'll change a little bit because
yeah,
winning fixes everything. But until that happens, yeah, they're going to be in an uphill battle. But I
tough shit
think
for
they'll turn it around.
yeah, a super favorable spot for Iowa. Looking forward to seeing what they do this year.
Yeah, we got UCLA at 24. They played a pretty good game against San Diego State. They had the freshman Dante Moore in at quarterback. He was one of the top three prospects from last year's class. I think like Malachi Nelson at USC was one, and I think Dante Moore was two.
Right.
And he looked pretty good. I think he threw about 60%. He threw three touchdowns and one interception. He looked a little bit better than he did when he was out there on week one. We'll see what UCLA does. It's still super early, but I think you win a couple games, you got the UCLA name, they're gonna put you up there.
Yeah, for sure. That's super promising for UCLA. They're a cool school.
I like UCLA as my second favorite
Yeah.
team. I hope they do something.
We got Washington State upset in Wisconsin, ranked Wisconsin. Washington State probably really hasn't been good since Gardner Minshew was there. Was that like 6 years ago?
Yeah, I think when they had was that
Give
when they had
or
Mike
take.
Leach.
Yeah. And he was at Mississippi State for was this would have been his third year?
Yeah, third or fourth year. Unfortunately he
RIP, my
passed
boy.
away.
Yeah. But Washington State, very surprising. That's just further proof that the Pac-12 is just absolutely nuts this year.
So far they've been proving
It's
themselves. They look like a
crazy.
pretty good team or good conference.
It'll
Uh,
be it'll be pretty funny if like it's the last year for the conference and one of like the random teams from the conference ends up winning like the championship, like Oregon State or something crazy. Should be like
they're
fuck you
going out
to
with
it.
a bang. They're going
Yeah,
out with a bang.
that'd be cool. Be cool. Oh, not really, because then I'm sure they would be beating my team. So no, fuck the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy that Wisconsin hasn't played that great. I mean, I know they didn't have a good year last year, but typically Wisconsin's a pretty solid team, and then you bring
Yeah.
in Fickle and Malachi or Mordecai, and you're gonna think they're gonna be pretty good. And they're struggling a little bit. I think they're probably still working the kinks out there, but Washington State looked really, really good.
Fuck
Miami,
Miami. Trash.
Miami looked amazing. Tyler
Yeah,
Van
they
Dyke, what he
did.
threw like five touchdowns.
Yeah,
You watched that game, didn't you?
I watched a bit of it. I didn't get to watch too much. I don't think I watched a full game all weekend. I was just catching bits and pieces of each one. But yeah, fucking god damn it. So we had a parlay we put down this past weekend, and Miami ruined mine. So fuck them, of course.
Yeah. I didn't put Miami down on my parlay. I actually picked all of my games right. Um, Utah just couldn't cover the spread on for
Can
me.
can we talk about Utah real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
Man, Utah upset me. I was riding them last weekend, and I was like, "Damn, I'm gonna get absolutely drugged this weekend because I was so high on Utah." And I still think Utah can be good. They just need Cam Rising back desperately, desperately.
Yeah, and they have the second string from last week, not the mobile guy, the other guy,
Yeah,
and he struggled really, really bad until they
they
put
should
the
they should have
other guy
taken him
in.
out so much earlier because as soon as they put the third string in, it was a completely different team. They was moving down the field. I think they scored twice within like the last couple minutes of the game to eventually take the lead. So very, very cool, and I like to see it. But you're doing all that against this Baylor team that just lost to Texas State the week before. Like that's not looking good. So I don't know about Utah going forward, but I was very high on them the first week playing Florida, and I was like, okay, they're playing this big SEC school, all this great talent. They kind of dominate them. They're gonna come in. They're gonna absolutely steamroll Baylor. No, depressing.
Nope. Yeah, I'm a little I think once they get Cam Rising back, they'll be a lot better
Mhm.
than they've looked so far. But I mean, hopefully he comes back next week. Duke
Yeah,
didn't play anybody, so there's really not much to talk about there. North
man.
Carolina, wow.
So North Carolina was my and App State was my game of the week. That game went to double overtime. I'm still convinced North Carolina got away with a like some sort of holding or defensive pass interference on that last play. Uh, because it definitely looked like the cornerback or the safety grabbed onto him in some fashion, and he kind of fell down heading to the end zone for the ball. But I don't know. I Upstate almost got him again.
Again. And North Carolina didn't look great week one. And if I'm correct, I don't even think Drake May threw a touchdown in the App State game. If he did, it was probably pretty late because I remember checking and he hadn't thrown one.
Yeah, and this man did not have one single passing touchdown. So he has a rushing touchdown in second overtime period. That's it. They wasn't even really able to throw for that much. 208's not that crazy. Their fucking running back went in sicko mode. 234, 3 TDs. Nuts.
That's really, yeah, that's he carried the team from the looks of it. He carried the team on his back.
On his back. That's crazy. You love to see it. And look at the other guy across from him. 26 carries, 127, 2 TDs. That's nothing to laugh about either. So it's just a good rushing football from both sides. You love to see it. I don't know, man. I thought I don't know how State doesn't win this game.
I mean, it looked just looking at everything aside from the total yards, they pretty much and they had the turnover. It looks like they dominated time of possession. They ran pretty well. They just, I guess, they couldn't come at the end of the game and win it, but they are playing a team that's vastly superior in the athletes that they have. It really shouldn't have been that close, and UNC had all these expectations going into the season.
Yeah.
So is Drake May's draft stock in jeopardy? Is the question right now? Probably not, but
man, after these first 2 weeks, North Carolina is not looking like they're gonna be able to get it done. Struggling kind of a bit in both games. I mean, they ultimately get the win, and that's all that matters. So if they go about doing that every week, who gives a shit? But
Minnesota though, that's a pretty solid defense that they're going to be going against.
Yeah, that's a sleeper team. They're not super good, but I think they could. They got who's the fuck's that coach they got?
I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's a pretty solid coach, and I mean they came out and beat Nebraska the first week. And then it looks like they play pretty good against
PJ Fleck. So they have a really good coach. He's in there trying to turn Minnesota around. They were actually pretty good, I think, 2 years ago. They had a really good winning season. I think they had like 9-10 wins or something crazy. It could be tripping. But... So that's definitely a sketchy game for North Carolina at Pitt. That Pitt's a very, very good team. Not necessarily always on paper or with their record, but Pitt's a fucking sleeper. I don't like playing Pitt, especially on the road. So that could be a trap game, 7 p.m. prime time. Could we see Drake May go down? Miami, if Miami is actually back, Miami will probably win this game because North Carolina
possibility.
Defense ain't looking too hot. So and then Duke, they got Duke here. If Duke's playing hot like they are, Duke could beat them. Clemson, who fucking knows?
We'll see. I mean, Clemson,
we'll see further.
I would almost bet they're gonna be better at the end of the year. It's just how much damage are they gonna
incur
absorb before they get to that point is the question.
And then if they win this entire schedule undefeated and make it to the ACC championship, they're more than likely going to play us, and we're going to beat the dog shit out of them the way we're playing.
Even if they got to the playoff, I can't see them beating anybody.
Not a single team. This would be worse than that Cincinnati year. And I like that. I liked that Cincinnati team. I do not like this North Carolina team.
Yeah, so far I'm not liking what I see, but it's early. Mac Brown's a great coach. We'll see what they do. And then we got my Oklahoma Sooners. We dropped a spot. I'm actually not incredibly mad about it. I said last week, until we get to Cincinnati week 4 and prove what we could do in conference play, I'm not really too concerned about where we're ranked. I went to the game. The defense looked really, really good. SMU has had one of the top 4 offenses for the past 4 seasons, and this is the lowest amount of points they've scored since 2017. So our defense looked really good. There was a few instances where we gave up like 20, 30-yard plays to them. What they worried me a little bit, but it didn't worry me too much because it wasn't like we were getting burned or anything. It was more like we just had guys out of position. Invincibles will just have to make some adjustments with that. The main concerns are offense. Like we rushed pretty well, and Dylan Gabriel didn't have too bad of a game.
Four TDs
Um,
is pretty solid.
4 TDs is solid. It's really Jeff Levy's play calling that's to question right now. It's just not looking very good. We threw Jackson Arnold in again, so we used another one of his redshirt games. In like you remember like Blake Bell of the Belldozer?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? That's
Yeah.
what we're trying to do with him. And I mean, like it
Is he
worked a lot
that
of the
big?
time. He's tall, but he's not as muscular.
That's very weird.
I don't really like putting Jackson Arnold in, wasting a redshirt game unless they're just planning on playing him the whole entire season like that.
I think they're probably trying to get him reps because Dylan Gabriel's leaving next year.
Yep.
He's probably gonna start next year, so they're probably trying to get him, actual game time reps against, not garbage time, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like I'm
thinking.
assuming they probably like were confident you guys were gonna win even with him in there.
Yeah, and it's not like he didn't throw. I don't think he threw a single pass, but they would run him out on a third, fourth
Yeah,
down,
it just
see
that
if he could
doesn't
run it
make.
through.
I can't see any other reason why they would waste his red shirt other than to get him a lot of experience very quickly.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't
I
really
don't know.
like it because I don't want that to be sitting in the back of Gabriel's mind the whole season. Like, oh, if I mess up,
I'm
I'm gonna
out.
I'm gonna get replaced. When
Yeah,
really, I think Dylan Gabriel's playing great. I just
he
think
is. He's playing
Jeff
solid.
Levy's play calling is just terrible. And speaking of Jeff Levy, did you see the whole thing after the game?
Uh-uh.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but Jeff Levy is Art Briles' son-in-law
Okay.
from Baylor. You remember
Yeah.
the whole Baylor scandal? Well, he had Art Briles on the field after the game wearing OU gear, and it did not go over well with the fan base at all. And they asked Brent Venables about it at the press conference, and he was like, "I had no idea he was even out there."
Yeah.
He's like, "This is going to be addressed," and he didn't seem the least bit happy about it. He
There's
didn't come
that.
to Jeff Levy's defense at all. He just seemed
Yeah.
really upset about it.
Well,
I
yeah,
think Jeff
that's.
Levy might be numbered here in Norman.
I agree. I don't think they'd fire him mid-season because that would super. That would fuck you guys' momentum and whatever you guys are building, if anything. Maybe he's holding you guys back, and it would be beneficial to get rid of him, but probably not. So I could see maybe you guys lose the game and your fucking undefeated season or playoff hopes kind of are gone. Maybe then get rid of him,
Yeah,
or the end of the year he's probably definitely gone.
yeah. There's a big kind of divide in the fan base right now. Certain people are like, "Well, Art Briles, he was cleared of everything at the end of the day, this and that." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." Let's just say Art Briles did nothing wrong, which I don't
Yeah,
think is true. Let's just say he did nothing wrong. That still just caused a distraction that we didn't need to
yeah,
have.
exactly. Going
And
into conference play next weekend
yeah, and Jeff Levy had
against a
apparently been
team.
warned to not bring him around.
All right, and going against a team you guys haven't played, and have you guys ever played Cincinnati?
We're playing Tulsa next week.
Or okay, Tulsa. I don't know. I used to play Cincinnati.
We play
Never mind.
Cincinnati the week after that.
Oh, okay. You guys are good going into Tulsa.
Yeah,
Never
we're good
mind.
going into Tulsa.
I
I'm
was
just
thinking
like, what is Jeff
Cincinnati, and I
Levy
was like,
thinking?
very interesting things going on down in Norman. Is there a storm brewing?
Yeah, there might be, but I mean, besides the iffy play calling on
That's
offense,
that's
we're all
crazy right
right.
there. They outpossess you guys.
They did. It's because Jeff Levy likes to run this quick offense,
Yeah,
which causes a lot of if you don't get something going, we're punting it back really, really quick. And he likes to do a lot of these they work every now and then, but he likes to move horizontally on the field, like throw swing passes,
bubble screens.
yeah, that type of deal. And
I can't stand that shit.
that gets you into third and longs really, really
Yeah,
quickly.
all the time. If it only works every now and again. I can't stand people that call that shit all the fucking time. That's like our problem when we had Willie Taggart coach before we have now. I felt like that
Yeah.
was his fucking offense. It was weird. Like it was like a fucking some type of that and like a spread offense almost, but it wasn't like we weren't spreading shit except our ass.
Yeah, I don't like that style of offense. I rather
I don't
just
either. It doesn't
move
work.
vertically down the field,
Yeah,
Then
running
every
back
now and then
or
throw that
passing.
in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's if that's your whole shtick, they're just gonna creep up play really close with their cornerbacks. It's I don't like it.
It's annoying. Then Dylan Gabriel gets criticized a lot for it by
It's
OU
not his fucking
fans,
fault.
but he's not even being allowed to throw the ball
Yeah,
downfield. So how can you even say this is on him when half the time he's throwing
he's
to
not
the
the
side?
he's not the fucking offensive coordinator.
He should be. He probably should be. He probably knows enough.
Yeah, I don't know. First game you guys played, I was like, okay, I was like, oh, he's probably gonna go. They're gonna win out. They're gonna win the year out. I was pretty impressed by what I seen. Game two, I definitely walked that back a little bit, and especially now that you're kind of bringing more things to light, and there's some things kind of going on. I don't think it's necessarily all good. It's just
Yeah.
distractions for a team that, especially early on, like in this first quarter of the season, you don't really want distractions because you're trying to get all on the same page, get your team moving, get your chemistry building to start rolling into the first half of the season. But I don't know. I think you guys could still potentially go undefeated. I like your guys' chances, but
We're in this just weird state until we get into conference play. Once we get into conference play, like if we just destroy Cincinnati,
I
I'm
think
gonna
you
feel
got
pretty confident going
confidently.
forward. Like
Yep,
it's just like, can we get past Texas at that point?
absolutely.
And some of the trap games we have towards the end of the year, and then we got Colorado jumped above us. I'm not too mad about it because I've liked pretty much everything I have seen from Colorado so
I
far.
I think that's fine. You could even maybe debate them being higher. Um,
Honestly,
they I don't think they go undefeated. I don't think they're making the playoffs. We'll just go ahead and get that out there. But I do like this Colorado team. They are nice. They are lacking in a lot of like key areas though that really kind of build successful teams. But I think they're just a sheer like momentum and hype and like sheer determination by these kids on this team and superior coaching and maybe even superior athletes kind of are overcoming these like shortfalls that they have on mainly the O and D lines. But because Shador Sanders was getting pressured so much, and they're gonna keep running into better defenses, so it's gonna still continue to be a problem. It'll probably cost them eventually, but I like it.
they just keep figuring it
They
out.
keep finding ways to win. And early on this Nebraska game, I was watching this one because it was on our parlay, and we had picked Colorado, and I was like not feeling super confident about what was like happening because Nebraska was kind of getting after him a little bit. Colorado didn't really look super hot to start, but they got it going. I like them.
Ole Miss, they beat Tulane. That was a pretty impressive win. I think they won by a couple of scores. Um,
Do what you need to do. That's just
they
gotta
just
win.
keep looking solid, but they're just one of those teams where it's like, when are they?
They always look like this. Ole Miss always looks pretty good, and you're like, okay, they might compete, and then they'll handle business, and then they'll fucking just run into Bama or Georgia and get absolutely destroyed, and then they're just done.
Yeah, well, so I mean, Ole Miss is just one of those teams. Wait and see. I
Yeah,
haven't seen anything to make me think they're amazing, but I do think they're looking very very good so far this season. Oregon
I
State, I don't even know who they played this weekend.
I don't know I don't even know the school. I don't think I've ever heard of this team that they played. UC Davis? Is that a high
Oh
school
yeah,
team?
that's like, yeah, one of those D2 schools that
That's probably a high school team up there in Oregon. P
something
five
like that.
seven. Hey, they're just looking dominant. Old DJ, fucking what's his nuts? Clemson.
Huey Gundula.
Yeah, he sounds it sounds Gungan from Star Wars. I like it, but yeah, they got a tough schedule. I think they have one of the like more harder schedules in the country. Uh, if they can win these games, Oregon State's gonna be crazy good. And I think they are good, but we'll see when this little stretch right here kind of pops up. This Washington State, Utah, Cal, UCLA. I
Yeah,
think
I think
it'll
they're
get real
they're in the same
interesting.
boat as Colorado, where I think
Yeah,
they're really good, but I think eventually they're just gonna drop a game or two because they're gonna be playing really good teams throughout the season.
that's tough. Utah, or not even to look over Washington State. So 1, 2, UCLA. We'll see if they're even good. Colorado, they're pretty good. So 3, Washington's really good. 4, Oregon. I don't know about
We
after
we
this
don't know.
week,
We don't know anymore.
but
I
they
thought they're
got
gonna be great.
they got talent, so they got 5 like really tough games. So and that's crazy, and they're all conference games, and that's not even their fault. They didn't schedule tough out of conference opponents. They just got fucked because their conference decided to all be good at the same year.
Yeah.
Selfish, very selfish of the Pac-12.
Let's see who's after that. K State. K State. I think this is a hot take. This is my hot take of the week. I think they lose to Missouri next week. Missouri hasn't even looked that good, but they're playing in Missouri, which is a really tough place to play. They almost beat Georgia there last year,
Yeah, they
and
do kind of just show up randomly in big games.
they got some excitement around the program. They're getting some good recruits.
Yeah,
I think K State might drop this game. I don't know what it is. This is just a gut feeling of mine. I think Missouri is going to beat K State this weekend.
that'd be cool. I don't care either way. I don't mind Missouri. It'd be cool to see them be good. They were pretty solid that one year. They had that defensive end that like was like the first one of the first college players to, like come out gay or something like that.
Michael Sam.
Yeah, when they had Michael Sam, well, they were pretty decent then, right?
Yeah, that was probably 2014, 2013, somewhere
Yeah,
around that time.
that might have been the last good Missouri team we've had.
Yeah, they haven't been good at all the past probably 10 years or so. But they sneak up on teams. They're an SEC team, so they have talent on the
Yep.
roster. There's no way they don't.
That'll be
And I
an
mean, I
interesting.
wouldn't be surprised if K State just came out and blew them out. Like if that happened, but just I
Yeah,
think them going to Missouri, K State, I think is going to feel a little bit too confident, and I think Missouri is going to pull off the upset. That's my
that'd be a
my
good game to keep an eye
upset
on.
prediction.
I'll be watching that one. LSU at 14. They got
It's
Mississippi State this week, I think, on the road. So
another
are
upset
they
alert.
are they actually good or are they kind of a fraud? This would be their second, big test outside of Florida State week 1, getting demolished, and then they come back and absolutely blow out. I think Grambling State 70 to I think they put 71 on them.
Yeah, they
So
went over 70.
are they good or are they not? Well, I think we'll really find out this weekend at Mississippi State.
Mississippi State's a good team. They got
They're
Will
2
Rogers
zero.
at quarterback. They went into a overtime game against Arizona this past weekend.
Arizona
Um,
could be there. It's another Pac-12 team.
Arizona looked actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Their
See,
quarterback was scrambling all over the place. So I mean, we'll just have to see. Mississippi State looked pretty good throughout most of that game, though. Do I
yeah.
think they'll beat LSU?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know, but I think it's possible.
I think
I
I think
just don't think
LSU is
it's gonna
actually
happen.
still good. I'm on that side of the fence. I think they're a good team. We should see it this weekend. If not, and it's actually a kind of a close game, is it? And then it kind of turns to is either Mississippi State good or is LSU bad? So I think we're still not gonna fully find out what LSU is this week unless they blow them out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
unless there's a blowout either direction, we
We're
probably
still we're
won't
still
know.
not getting the full answer, unfortunately.
Yeah, so this early on, I mean, that's kind of the question with any game. Like, is this team really bad or is this team really good? And it takes a few weeks into the season to really start getting a clear picture of that. But we'll find out with
Yeah.
LSU. Oregon, that's my game of the week.
Fraud
Uh,
alert.
38-30,
They
and
should have
they
lost.
they almost they almost did.
Their
Texas
Texas Tech's
or
quarterback made just a bad decision on that last drive. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?" I was like, "Okay, it's super anticlimactic."
they were driving down the field too. That's what's crazy about
Yeah,
it. There
they
was a good
should.
chance Texas Tech was about to walk away with that game.
I think they should have. So Oregon, I don't know. Was Texas Tech just one of those weird kind of trap teams that pops up? And Texas Tech kind of does that from time to time.
I
Probably.
don't know because I mean like they almost lost to Wyoming the previous week, but I was like, is Wyoming good? Why,
We're saying that about every team. Is this team actually good? We can't even fucking make a decision.
why? Because
What
Wyoming's
are we
playing
doing?
Texas this weekend, and I'm like,
Uh,
can
is
Wyoming pull off the upset?
it's a never-ending fucking. Oh,
But yeah, most likely, I would say
I
I'm
think
leaning towards Oregon's probably not as good as we thought. That's kind of my opinion on it.
I think so too. I don't think they went out. They never do. It's like I mean probable and that they're gonna lose the game. Very probable.
Yeah,
Utah, we kind of already touched on
yeah.
them. I think they'll be better next week with Cam Rising if he can fucking get his ass on the field and prove me right.
Yep.
Tennessee dropping 2. Who do they play?
I think they play a pretty good
Ah,
team this weekend. You might pull it up.
who did they
I think
just
Tennessee
play?
Tennessee has a challenge this weekend. It's
At,
Florida. It's not really a
at
challenge.
but it's
It's at Florida.
it's at Florida though. That's the only thing. That's a fucking tough place to play. They play everybody like it's the Super Bowl at home. But
I think
I think Tennessee still
Tennessee wins
wins
by
a convincing.
21.
Damn, I was gonna say like 14-17, but yeah. So and then they also got bumped down because Alabama bumped and moved them out of their spot, and then Texas hopped in over them. So that's the only reason they dropped 2. It's not anything by the way Tennessee played. It's just who they played and what happened around them.
Yeah.
Alabama dropping 7 and still being in the top 10. I think that's fair. I definitely I thought they was gonna drop the 9 personally. What do
Yeah,
you think?
I think it's a fair drop. I don't think they didn't really get destroyed. They didn't look terrible throughout most of the game. They made some mistakes towards the end, especially with
Yeah,
that interception that really made the score look a little bit worse than it actually was. People are panicking in Alabama right now. It's
for
kind of
sure.
hilarious because it's like, come on, guys, you guys are probably gonna maybe lose max like 4 or 5 games.
That's
It's
a
not even
lot.
for them. It's a lot, but it's like you guys like
Well,
I watched the
they're still
Paul Feinbaum.
technically like in their dynasty, so like losing 4 games is like that's it.
Well,
It's
and then
over.
Nick Saban, he doesn't have that much longer coach, and he's probably going to coach another
Uh,
year or two. So I could
5
see the panic a
max.
little bit.
Oh yeah, because they're kind of looking forward, like, oh shit, like at the tail end of his career, we're starting to drop games. It's kind of like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like that's kind of like what happened with us when Bobby Bowden was coming to his end. We started fucking just losing a lot, and people were like panicking, like, oh, what the fuck are we gonna do?
Yeah, I
And
mean that's the way it happens. Yeah, I was watching the Paul Feinbaum show, and he was having like callers call on the show, and like every
yeah,
single one of them was like, "The dynasty's over. We're we need to bench Milrow," and I'm like, Milrow didn't play that bad. I mean, he didn't look great. He threw.
yeah,
He
he didn't
mentioned
look
he just made
great.
some bad decisions.
He's
That's what I'd
still
say.
young, like, isn't he? He's
I
not a
think he's
freshman
a
because he was there last year.
yeah.
He's
He
like a
might be a
sophomore
sophomore or
or like
junior.
or not a fucking redshirt freshman, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he
Yeah,
is.
I'm not sure what class he is, but I mean he wasn't like terrible, terrible.
It's his first big game, and like they didn't get blown out.
Yeah, they're talking about they need to. That a lot of those fans were like, we need to put in the kid from Notre Dame, and I was like, I don't think
Shane
that's gonna
Buckner.
fix. Yeah, like I don't think that's gonna fix your
I think it's just their
issues.
offense is like bad. I don't think they have any like good receivers. Like I seen this thing, somebody was talking about it. This is like one of their first like true years where they just don't have like receiver talent, and that's kind of what made these last couple quarterbacks that they've had like made their careers because they had these badass receivers. Like of course they're gonna fucking be good and develop into good quarterbacks. Like yeah, they were probably good when they got to Alabama, but they just this type of team that they were with and these athletes, they just developed into really good players, and it ultimately we ultimately went to the NFL. But now like they ain't got nobody. Who the fuck are
Yeah,
they gonna throw the ball to? So now the dude's having to run the ball by himself. It's just not working.
yeah, it's not. And I mean, one thing I'd have to say to the fans that really don't want Milrow in, and I learned this the hard way last year when Dylan Gabriel had a few bad games. There's a reason
He's the
they're not
starter.
they're not putting in that backup. And then when they put in that backup, you'll really see why he was not starting. Doesn't
Yeah,
always work out that way, but a lot of the times that's how it works
yeah,
out.
exactly. So I don't know. It's not looking good in Alabama, but their schedule might not be too bad. They might be okay for the year. Let's
Oh
see.
no, I think they
South.
could lose maybe 4 games this year.
Oh, yeah, it's tough. Never mind. South Florida, that's a dub. That's a good bounce. They got lucky that they have this here. Probably by design.
Yeah.
Just in case. So they got a good bounce back game. Unfortunately, it's not at home, but and then they turn around and have Ole Miss right back at home after Texas. So that's gonna be a fucking. This will be a good game. It could be a blowout, but I think it'll be a good game.
I think that'll be a really good game. I don't know who wins.
Dude,
I
and
want
then
to say
they
Bama wins, but I really don't know.
And then they turned around and go on the road twice to semi Texas A&M's trash. Never mind. What am I talking about? Mississippi State. We'll see. That looking like they're solid. And then they come back to home and have it Arkansas, Tennessee, and then LSU. Potentially could lose all three of those if Arkansas is any good. They might win at home like twice.
It's a it's a
All their
really scary
losses might
deal
come at home, which is crazy.
because I don't think they beat Tennessee. Like that's the out of all the ones I see on their
Yeah.
schedule, that one to me is like I think they definitely lose that
Another
one.
guaranteed loss. Yeah, I do too. That quarterback that they got, what's his name? He's good. I like him.
I forget his name because he has a similar name to Milrow, and it like confuses. It's not Monroe. It's like I can't remember it off the top
Yeah.
of my head, but it's
You're
very
all,
similar to Milrow, so I get them two
yeah.
confused a
He's
lot.
good. I think Tennessee's gonna be actually hot take. I think Tennessee goes undefeated this year. I think they're one of my playoff teams.
I'm still too. It's too early for me to give them that, but they're not
I
looking like a team that's
I'm early picking
gonna
it.
lose a lot of games for quite a stretch.
I think they could come out of there with one loss. They still might make it with one loss, but I think they're making the playoffs. Hot take.
It's certainly a possibility.
Just going out on a limb there. I don't know. There's something about this Tennessee just kind of catching my eye in like a good way.
That Josh Heupel offense, man, it's
It's
unstoppable.
fucking really good. So you have to have a similar scoring offense because if you don't score one time, you or you don't stop them, like you're behind, and it's just gonna keep coming. So I like it. So Alabama, not looking good, but
Maybe in a little bit of trouble. Then we got Notre
I wouldn't
Dame.
fucking burn the barn down just yet.
Not yet. And honestly,
You're probably gonna have to burn the fucking bar down, but just not yet.
not yet. Wait till the next loss before you freak out. Wait, give them one more loss.
There's gonna be more, at least one. So Notre Dame, same old kind of.
I
We're
don't
still
think they
just
even played anybody yet. Really, really.
we're still just waiting to see on them. They had NC State without Devin Leary because he
I mean,
transferred. So
decent team, but not enough to really give you
no,
an
there's
indication of what they're going to be looking like this season.
yeah, still no tell. And then they turn around, cupcake Central Michigan at home as a tune-up to prepare for Ohio State.
So I
So
think they win.
I think that'll probably be. I think they do too. But this will be our first true test for I think both of these two teams because pretty sure Ohio State doesn't play anybody super good this
No,
week.
I don't believe they do.
That's not what I
Let's
thought
see.
was gonna pop up.
Yeah, I thought that just Ohio State was going to pop up.
Yeah, they got Western
Yeah,
Kentucky. So
Western
they'll both be
Kentucky.
undefeated. That'll be probably college game day. You'll have two top 10 teams facing off. I'm here for it. In at home for Notre Dame. I think they come away with it. So well, wrong button.
We'll see where Notre Dame goes. Washington, they played Tulsa. They won 49-10. Not much to talk about there, but I mean they look good. I think Penn State was in a similar situation where
They
they
played
didn't play.
Delaware.
Yeah, they whooped
They
Delaware,
scored a
which
lot. So that's what they need to be doing though. If they wouldn't have scored, same with Washington. If they wouldn't have, kind of had a dominant performance, we'd have been like, huh. So I don't have any
yeah,
problem with it. So I like it. Ohio State played Youngstown. They only won by like fucking 28 because it was like 35-7. So
yeah. I think they looked all right.
I
They
just
definitely
I
it
don't
got
like
their
this
momentum
team.
building a little bit. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sold on Ohio State.
I don't think they're good. I hate to say it because they should be good. I don't think they are. USC played nobody. So moving on.
Yeah, we got Texas. Obviously, we touched on the Bama game. Texas looked really good.
Yeah,
Quinn Ewers looked great. That receivers looked great. They got so many great athletes on that
for
team.
sure. Texas was my performance of the week by a team because they just look dominant across the board. Uh, like statistically, they played a perfect game, no turnovers, had time of possession, had more yards, more first downs, everything they needed to do in Tuscaloosa. And I don't know how true this is. Somebody told me it was like the first time Texas has like either been in Tuscaloosa or won in Tuscaloosa since like 1902. something fucking outrageous. I don't know how true that is or not.
It probably is because it's not like Texas and Alabama really play that often until
Yeah.
last year.
Well, and then
Um,
I think the last time they played him was in that what 2010 championship, and then
championship.
before that was I mean '07 maybe.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last time before
Random
then.
guess. So
I mean, Cole McCoy went out that championship, so they really had no chance of winning that one.
yeah, exactly. So Texas broke the curse against Alabama. I'm for it. It's nice to see Alabama lose. It's cool. It's cool to see Texas back. I mean, not so much for you because they're your rival, but you guys have a chance to ruin their year.
Yeah, that's what I like.
I don't think it's gonna happen after seeing Texas now. I think Texas is gonna be really good. But they could fuck up because they do that shit all the time. They'll have a really good team and then they just fuck up somewhere along the line and then ruins their year.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know. It really depends on, I guess, how bad Alabama ends up being.
Yeah.
I think Texas still is in a position where they could drop a few games, but from what I saw, they look like one of the best teams in the country. As much as I hate to say it, they're my performance of the week as well. They looked amazing. I mean, their athletes were just kind of burning Alabama when they needed to. Quinn Ewers looked really good.
It
Not
was
much bad you can say about him.
no, it was a pretty like defensive game, the first half is just all, field goals and then a lone touchdown from Texas. So it was still a pretty close game going into halftime, but I think we definitely went into halftime thinking like this is Texas's game to win, up 13-6, and having looked really good at stopping Alabama's defense. I think it just took a little bit for Texas's offense to start humming, and then from there they started kind of getting their points and doing what they needed to do, and the defense did what they needed to do.
Yeah, I honestly going into this game last week, I think we both thought Texas was going to lose, but
Yeah,
probably by a lot, and they proved us wrong.
yeah, for sure. I should have seen this one coming because this is like a type of bet I would bet on like last year when I picked LSU over Alabama to upset them. So I'm very upset at myself for missing this. That was my first thought. As soon as the game was over, I was like, "Fuck."
I didn't. I mean, like I thought it was like possible, but I really didn't think it was going to happen
Yeah,
because the main factor was just the fact that it was in Alabama and they rarely lose at home.
yeah.
But I mean, they got it done. They're ranked 4. Texas is back. This is the
It
highest they've
seems
been
like
ranked
it,
in a long time.
and they got 2 votes for first place. This must be like Auburn alums or something
I
because
mean,
they hate Alabama.
it's kind of fair. I mean, they have the probably the best win in the season so far out of any team besides maybe Florida State against LSU, which we'll
I would
see
say
how LSU looks.
I would say that Alabama or beating Alabama in Alabama is way better than our win at a neutral
Yeah,
site. So I still fuck with it, but then we got Florida State, my team. We did what we needed to do. We played Southern Miss. Let's see, where's my tab?
one of those directional schools.
Exactly. So we came out. I didn't really actually even like the way we were looking in the first like quarter. I was very surprised and kind of upset. We only walked away with 14 points in the first quarter. I know that sounds so bad to be saying that, like only 14 points, but like the way we've been playing, we should have scored way more than that.
Yeah,
Fucking Johnny Wilson, man. I don't know what I don't know what this kid's problem is, but this dude is just dropping balls. It was a problem in LSU. I think in this game he dropped five. Five. That's a lot. That's a lot of
you
passes.
see this every now and then from good receivers where they drop. It gets. I think
It's
you get a
something.
couple drops, it starts getting in your head a little bit, and then you're like, oh, can I not catch anymore? And then
Yeah.
you're
And
dropping
then
everything.
we brought Keon Coleman in, so he's not the number one receiver. He got replaced by Coleman, and Coleman's outperforming him on the field because Coleman ain't dropping fucking 5 passes a game. So I think it's all just getting to him. We gotta figure some way to get his ass back together because we're gonna need him. He's just too big of an athlete and like a physical specimen to not be out there.
Yeah,
He's very, very good. He's just gotta get his get his catching together.
Yeah, he's crucial to you guys getting to a national championship because you need him for those jump balls,
Yeah,
deep throws. You need to get to him. He's gonna be kind of the difference maker on the team
I
probably
agree.
when it comes down to it.
And if he
I,
can't
I bet he
figure it
gets it
out,
figured. I bet he gets it figured out.
that shit could cost us a game.
No, absolutely.
And it was kind of costing us in the fucking when we was playing LSU the first half. That's why we were so fucking looking like dog ass because he's out there dropping goddamn balls. It's not all because of him. Specifically, why we were bad in that first half. And I'm saying he was a big contribution to it,
Yeah, I
just
think
like
he'll
in
get
this
it
one.
figured out. It might just have to be kind of making him less of a factor in the
Yeah,
next
early on.
game and kind of throwing a few passes his way that he can easily catch just to get his confidence back up.
Yeah,
And then hopefully he gets out of the rut that he's in.
I agree. We gotta figure something out. But overall, we look really good across the board. Defense looks phenomenal. I'm actually still mad they actually scored a touchdown. So that was unfortunate, but that was after our starters. Our starters left in like the early third quarter, I believe. Yeah, Trey Benson and then Rodemaker was in there for this touchdown. So somewhere in between here and here, because I stopped watching at this point. I think the Texas Alabama game was on at like the same time, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then the backups came out and dominated. So I'm happy with how we performed. We did what we were supposed to do, especially at home. Crowds look good. We actually filled the stadium. Normally, like we wouldn't have a huge crowd for a game like this, but the hype train is real, and I'm here for it. We got
Yeah.
Boston College next week. Should be another gimme.
Yep, I agree on that with Boston College. That should be another one. So it'll be until Clemson before you get your first real test, and who knows if
If
that'll
if
even be a
if
real test.
LSU wasn't a real test,
Yeah, or yeah. I mean, if LSU wasn't a real test,
yeah,
um, it's up in the air right now. But I mean,
I,
so far, I mean, even against LSU, you guys dominated the second half. So there's not been a whole lot of signs of struggle other than that first half against LSU so far. So
yeah,
not a whole lot to worry about. Michigan, I think they played in another just kind of
another bum.
another bum. So they did what they needed to do.
UNLV.
UNLV,
And they only scored 35, which is nothing crazy. So I mean, they're not scoring like as much as you would like against these types of teams. So whether or not that's maybe because they don't got Jim Harbaugh, so maybe they're going just a little more conservative. They're just trying to get in there, get the wins, get out. Um, I don't know. Is Jim Harbaugh the offensive coordinator as
you know,
well?
I don't know
Because
if he is.
that
I don't believe he is.
that could
Um,
be it. If he is the offensive coordinator, that could be why they're not running the score up on these teams or performing as good. But defense looks like they're playing really good, only giving up 3-7. So Bowling Green's gonna be another gimme. Rutgers is another gimme. So Harbaugh will be back at Nebraska, which should be fine.
they kind of
Um,
got a
they're gonna
cakewalk of a
really,
schedule.
really, they're gonna walk into Penn State on the road riding pretty high. That could be bad for them, not having played really anybody that's gonna challenge them too much going into Penn State. They might be kind of overconfident, which because Penn State I think has a better because they play Notre Dame before this, so they're gonna have a good true test. And if
Yeah,
they can walk out of there, they're gonna be like, we can beat Michigan easy. So I don't know. I don't like it for Michigan going at Penn State.
yeah. I mean, that's going to be a tough one. And then you got Ohio State. Even if Ohio State is terrible this year, that's still
It's
a tough
still
game just because
it's
it's a
still a
rivalry.
rivalry. Yeah. Luckily, it's at
So,
home. So
yeah,
I
I'm not
think
super excited about how they haven't been as dominant as you'd like them to
yeah.
be, but they're not doing anything to really make me worry either. Blake Corum had, I think, 3 touchdowns against UNLV. He's one of my favorite players in college football, so I'm glad to see him back from that ACL injury last year and
It is good to
playing good
see.
again.
I don't know. Michigan's solid, but I think they lose to Penn State, so we'll just go ahead and get that on the record too. Penn State's looking nice.
I'm not ready to go that far yet, but it's a possibility.
Hey, we're
And
just
then
throwing early shots out there.
early predictions. Georgia looked like Georgia again. Man, Georgia, they're so good, but they're so boring. Like they're just so good that it's boring.
Yeah,
I
it's
hope they I hope they lose this year. I just do. Just to shake things up.
they
They're
don't.
such
I
a
don't
good
know. They
team.
don't look like anything crazy, but they haven't played anybody. See, you don't even know if like the dudes that they have in are like ballers or if they're just like obviously they're better talent than these fucking teams are getting. But is it like talent, or are they just kind of like good? Like middle, like an upper middle pack SEC team, or they elite. We have no idea.
And we're not gonna know. They're in the same
I
boat
don't
as
even.
Michigan, where it takes all the way till the end of the season before they play a really good team.
Yeah, because is this the South Carolina team we had last year where they were shit the first half and turned it on and what they win like the last six or something?
Yeah, I mean they played great and on the downhill stretch, which was I thought South Carolina was going to be one of the better teams this year, but they haven't looked
Yeah,
like it so far.
I thought they was gonna come in and maybe upset North Carolina. So we don't even know about South Carolina. So this could be a weird game this weekend. Maybe one to keep an eye on. Potential upset alert for Georgia if South Carolina is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a
And
possibility. I wouldn't
then
be surprised.
they ain't got nobody potentially unless Missouri turns out to be something until Ole Miss. So I don't know. Georgia's a weird one. They'll probably still stay at one up until there. I don't see any reason for them to not stay at the one spot.
I think Texas or Florida State might steal the spot from them just based off the hype.
I think we will too
That's bound to come along
with a
if
new
both those
team.
teams keep winning.
Yeah, if we go into Clemson and Clemson's ranked and we beat them, I could see us definitely taking second from Michigan.
Yeah. And then yeah, not I
First,
mean and then yeah.
maybe. It depends. Depends on what Clemson moves up to and how bad we beat them, which is gonna be in the question.
And if OU's ranked and Texas beats us decisively, that Texas is ranked one.
For sure.
Just because it's
Yeah.
Texas, they love Texas. I don't know why the media loves Texas so much,
Because
but they love them
they're like the Dallas Cowboys. They're in Texas. It's basically the college Dallas Cowboys.
essentially. They're on
And
the
they
same
got
level as far as like every year is
yeah,
their year.
their mascots, Matthew McConaughey, like like they get a lot of attention even if they're bad.
So going into our personal top six, who do you
I
got
don't
at number six?
Mine didn't even change from last week. I basically have the entire I think mine's the same just from last week.
Did
It's
you
not
just
matching theirs.
flipped Ohio State and Penn State pretty much?
Yeah, Penn State 6, USC 5. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty much the same. Do you make any adjustments? Nothing crazy happened, or nobody played anybody really worthy for me to flip flop anybody.
Yeah, I didn't make a whole lot of adjustments. I have Ohio State at six, just because they have so much talent on that team, especially at the receiving end. It's just a matter if Kyle McCord's that guy. So until Notre Dame, I'll probably keep them around this spot. I got USC at five. They've looked pretty good so far this year. Texas at four, and then my difference is I have Michigan at three, and then Florida State at two, and then Georgia at one. Michigan, like if they get a good win, they'll probably move ahead of Florida State for me, and just because they have a whole year of kind of proven themselves already
Yeah,
with a lot of the same returning players, but they just haven't had a win like Florida State has. Texas, honestly, I could maybe make the argument that they could be ahead of Michigan, but they were just moving from such a low spot. It's just kind of
right.
hard to move them that
Yeah,
high
that would be
up.
a crazy jump.
But
It could, it's not unreasonable, but it's a little out there.
yeah, I mean, if anybody was like, I have Texas at three and Michigan at four, I wouldn't argue with it too hard. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
fair enough. And
as
it's
long as
early enough
they're
in the season, it doesn't really matter.
yeah, I think everybody's four could be like it's obviously this four here. It's just kind of in like what order, like preference wise. I don't like I said, I don't see any reason to take Georgia off one, and I'm still under the belief that defending national championships should retain one until they lose.
Yeah, I'm kind
That
of
would
with
be
you
such
there.
like a cool kind of advantage going into the playoffs. Like if you're the defending national champ and you make the playoffs again, like you're guaranteed like one. Like even
Pretty
if
much, yeah.
even if there's other teams that look better than you, like you're still one guaranteed because you won last year. That would be a cool thing if they could maybe try out because I think they're doing buys for like 1 and 2 or something like that, right?
Not this year because this year's still the four.
Or yeah, for when they go
But
to the 12 though.
yeah. When they go to 12, yeah, they're gonna be doing buys for the top four teams, I believe.
Yeah, so that would be such a cool concept. Like you have a guaranteed bye next year if you can make it to the playoffs. Very interesting idea.
Yeah, this is the last year on the four team, which I'm so
I'm
excited
so
this four
excited. Yeah.
teams over because so many teams that should get in the playoffs or maybe should just deserve an opportunity, they don't get in
Yeah.
because there's only four spots. But now we're gonna have 12 teams, so
I'm definitely glad like we moved off the BCS to four teams and it was much needed. It was just a good stepping stone to get where we're going, and I'm so glad they finally decided to do it. It's been like what 10 years since we've no, it's not been 10 years. It's been like
it's been
8.
like 7 or 8 though. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
so they've had plenty of time to have the four team, and sure, and I think pretty much every year that we've had the 14 playoff, basically you knew who was going to win regardless for the most part, and those Cinderella teams that did make it tended to not do anything. So it's it's basically not really any better than the BCS, but it's definitely more appealing, and you get to watch better matchups at the end of the year. It's just more fun as a fan, and I'm so glad we're moving further in depth into this tournament style for the champion. I love
Yeah.
tournaments.
And I think with added teams, it just gives more of a likelihood for some upsets to
Oh
happen,
yeah,
different
now
different matchups. And
yep.
the first games, from my understanding, aren't gonna be like in a neutral site. They're gonna be at a home field.
Home. Right. And it's been even like another cool aspect to this 12 team is like you're gonna get these teams getting into the playoffs and playing these other teams that they've never played before. So you're getting these cool matchups that we've never seen between schools that normally would never schedule each other, whether it's, they're too good and they don't want to potentially have another loss on the schedule or
Just
whatever.
geographically, it doesn't make sense. There's a
Or
lot of
maybe, yeah, or maybe some old rivalries might reconnect, and you might pick up an old rival in the playoff that you haven't played in fucking forever. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It,
it's
it's cool to see.
going in a cool direction. So we pretty much talked about our best performance, game of the week.
Most
Um,
disappointing performance.
I had Wisconsin.
I had Utah, even though
Oh,
they
even
won.
even with the
Even though they won,
win.
that shit just really rubbed me the wrong way. I was really torn between Utah and Oregon. I wanted to put Oregon down for almost losing to Tech. Yeah, trap team on the road. It's understandable, but
Yeah, I
fucking
typically
lucky
just go with a team that
got
that
upset.
that loses. I mean, I didn't really have super high expectations for Wisconsin, but I definitely thought they're going to be better than they are. I
Yeah.
mean, we kind of already touched on these games.
I
Um,
mean, we can look at the Washington State one a little bit. We didn't actually check the stats, or I didn't even see how this game went. Let's see. Oh, damn. Washington State was fucking blowing them out at halftime, and then they got lucky because Wisconsin came back. I wonder if maybe they took their starters out or some shit, like right here, trying to be cheeky, and then they started getting scored on, and it was like, ah, shit.
you got to get this going. Washington State's quarterback actually looked really good. Um, he led the team in rushing, which is and not even with that many yards. That's a little concerning going forward with Washington State. But
Yeah.
he's a pretty mobile guy. He could get out of the pocket, make some decent throws. His numbers weren't like
Oh,
crazy, but he's promising.
that's it right there. That's what happened.
Yeah, those three
Bam.
turnovers. I mean, they had more yards, they had more first downs. They pretty even on a time of
Yeah,
possession.
that's with 3 turnovers. So imagine they don't turn the ball over 3 times.
Yeah, they probably win that game if they
They
don't do
probably
that.
beat them by at least 2 scores. So
Unfortunate.
yeah, you hate to see it. Get
But
wrecked, Wisconsin.
Washington State's an interesting team. I like them. I like to see teams like that do good that you kind of don't expect. We'll just see how they go more moving forward.
Ain't looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking good at all. Um, who do
All
you have for
right,
player of the week?
I got Quinn Ewers.
Okay, yeah.
You got anybody? We've already kind of touched on Texas and whatnot. I mean, we could pull up his stats just briefly. He threw for 349, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, ran for 11 yards. So just in the hostile environment at Alabama and having a pretty good performance. There was people that had better performances stats wise, but that's why I went Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I could have gone Quinn Ewers, but I tried not to
Yeah.
make the player of the week somebody I'm going to talk about in my Heisman top five.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I was a homer this week with my player of the week, which is Danny Stutzman. He's one of our linebackers at OU. He had 17 tackles
God
and a
damn.
sack. He was an absolute beast out there. He's
Look
our
at this dude. Jesus.
best player on the team. He's already got 21 on the season, and he's about to get a whole bunch more against Tulsa next week.
Damn.
He might hit 100 tackles this year. It's a strong possibility. He's the leader of our defense, and it's crazy because he's not a senior. He's a junior.
That's dope.
He's the heart and soul of the. He's pretty much the heart and soul of the team, and I was just really happy with his performance. I guess he forgot his parking permit before the game, and he got his his car towed during the game. And then when he got out, his car wasn't there anymore.
That's
But yeah,
fantastic.
he had a really a good game. I just didn't. Obviously, Quinn Ewers is like my
Yeah.
real player of the week, but I'm going to talk about him a little bit more. So I figured I'd
That's
talk about
that's
somebody else for a
interesting.
minute.
Little sneak peek there to the Heisman top five.
Yeah, little sneak peek there. Who's your
Mm.
most disappointing player of the week?
Oh, Jeff Sims.
Oh, cool, me too.
Yo, so crazy thing, this guy was a Florida State recruit. Like he was Willie Taggart was high as fuck on this guy. Like he thought he was this dude was gonna save us. This was our savior here. And I don't remember what happened. I don't think if he blew us off for another program or I don't know what happened, but I think he was a Willie Taggart recruit. Could be wrong.
That's probably
Check
right. I
that.
mean, look at his
Yeah,
QBR. Jesus.
yeah. He had a tough game. 20 for 34 on the season so far. That's just
Not
not good.
terrible, but it's
It's
not
not good.
great.
They went 9 for 15 last week, 106, an interception, two sacks, QBR of 34, and then 36.9 last week at Minnesota. So Nebraska is having a tough time, and it's looking like this might be the reason. But he is running the ball decently well.
One thing I'll say is when you have a quarterback that's playing really bad and he's still
Um,
starting, you're in trouble with who's behind you.
he went to Georgia Tech first
Okay,
instead of us.
it's it's not looking good who's behind him because if this is your guys' starter, they obviously don't feel great about the people behind them. So this is probably the best you got, Nebraska fans, and you're just gonna have to suffer through this year. It looks like.
Yeah, it's that's bad. He's probably gonna be a guy to keep an eye on. We probably could have went his way last week. I don't who did we go with last week? I don't even remember.
Um, I honestly I can't even remember last week's. We're oh, it was Club Nick. We just kind of skimmed
Yeah.
over it because we had already roasted him so much in the
So
top 25 reaction.
he had a terrible week last week. One TD, three picks, sacked three times. Jesus, this might be the guy every week.
This
Ooh,
might be
Spencer
our
Petras,
Spencer Petras of the
Peaches,
year.
Petras. Go
We're
fuck
calling him
yourself.
Petrus for like the first like 6 weeks before we found out his name was Petrus.
Yeah, it's great. All right,
So
Heisman
Heisman
top
top
five.
five.
Dun, dun, dun. Mine didn't change. I have the same five.
Um, so I had to make a couple of changes because I had Milrow in my top five last
Oh,
week. He obviously had to drop out,
yeah,
and then I can't even remember who the other guy. Oh, I had a Travis Hunter, and he could still work his way back in. He's still
for sure. I
on
think
the
he
outside.
I think he had a decent game. Let me check his stats.
I think he had like 73 receiving yards and maybe a couple tackles. It's not like he played bad. He just didn't do anything like
Four
for me to justify
tackles,
it.
one pass deflection. What about? I don't hate that it doesn't have his fucking receiving
He had
yards.
I think 3 receptions for yeah,
That's
he had
so
like
annoying. It has it as a total.
yeah,
Dude,
he
just
had three
fuck
receptions for
ESPN.
70 yards is what I think he ended up having.
Okay, that's not bad.
I mean,
Uh,
he did good. It's just not enough for me to justify keeping him on the list as much as I wanted to.
yeah,
Um,
he's gonna need to do something.
so who is your number five from last week?
I had Shador Sanders.
Okay, so
He ended
you
up
still got him up there.
Yeah, he ended up throwing for 393 and two touchdowns, but he did get sacked 7 times. Like I said, and that offensive line's bad. So I don't know if he stays up there. 68 QBR. I think he's got a lot of hype behind him. I think it's keeping him in the number 5 spot. But
Yeah, he's another guy that's kind of just creeping on the outside of
yeah,
my my
Not a bad
top
outing.
five. He could definitely work his way in. He's looking like a Heisman candidate. I put Michael Penix Jr. at a number five for me. He didn't
Still
make my
number
list
4.
last week, but he's still he put up great numbers. He's right outside my list last week, and he just keeps putting up great numbers. And it's like
Yeah.
until he's
409 for
bad
3.
game, he's gonna stay up here.
Oh, he had positive rushing yards this week.
Yeah, he's not a great rusher at all, but he launches that ball.
He's kind of big, 213, 6'3". That seems kind of big for a QB, right?
Yeah,
Like
no,
weight wise.
he's a pretty big dude.
Yeah,
He's a
I don't
he's a
know.
pretty big dude. I
I
mean,
think
fourth in
he
QBR.
I think he should be okay at like going to the league. He's probably gonna go in the first round. I think he's got good technique. He could be coached up pretty well. I think he'll be good.
He reminds me a lot of Stroud from last year. Um, even maybe even a little bit more dominant. Granted, he's not playing the same caliber of
Yeah.
defense that Stroud was playing last year,
And
but
this
he
this
puts 400 yards up a game. It seems like
this QB class is gonna be pretty big. I'm not saying it's gonna be great or elite. I think it's just gonna be big. There's a lot of like good talent coming out this year.
draftable
Draftable.
quarterbacks.
They're not maybe on all first round picks, which they're probably some of them are gonna go in the first round just because teams want to get their QB fucking before somebody else does. But there's a lot to choose from.
There is so my number four looks like is your number three. I have Sam Hartman. He was another guy that just barely didn't make my list last week, but he just keeps playing really good. His completion
286 for
percentages are
4.
pretty good. He
Yeah,
hasn't thrown an interception. He's so smart with the ball.
he's very smart with the ball. He's fucking 40 years old, so I would hope so.
You know, it's crazy. I looked up his age like
He's like
before
our
the
age.
episode. He's actually 24. I thought he was way older than that.
Yeah, he seems like he's been in the goddamn fucking college for 5, 6 years. I don't know, actually, how
I
old is
mean,
he?
he this is year six for
2018.
him,
Yeah, that's nuts. Dude's been playing college football forever.
and he had 39, 21, and then he had 38 touchdowns and 22. And he looks like he's just on pace to at least hit that, if not more, this year. Probably more,
He's
honestly.
gonna blow this one out. I think probably to yards and touchdowns. Maybe not blow out actually. That's because he's gonna have to throw for like 5,000 and blow it out. I think he could probably hit like 4,500 and like just shy of 50 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he's kind of on pace for that. Yeah, he's definitely kind of he's gonna be hanging around my top five until he gives me something to tell me he's not worthy of it. Number three is where I put Quinn Ewers. Um, it's
Yeah,
not like his stats have been spectacular this season,
there's a
but
big
I think
win.
signature wins really matter when it comes to the Heisman, and he's one of pretty much two quarterbacks right now that has a real signature win. So he's gonna stay up there. He's one of those ones, I can see him dropping out just depending on
Yeah,
how the season goes.
just
But
kind of
where
hanging
he's sitting right
around.
now, he's in that Heisman conversation, and
Yeah,
he'll stay up there until Texas loses or he has just a really bad game.
I think he'll probably end up more than likely taking my 4 or 5 spot where Penix or Shador. I think Shador will probably end up falling off. And I think it could be Quinn Ewers locking up one of these spots, and then probably Tennessee's quarterback taking over Penix's spot because I'm pretty sure Washington's gonna lose, and then he'll just drop out.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be like a combination of Caleb Williams, Jordan Travis, Quinn Ewers, and I want to say Tennessee's quarterback
Yeah, when it all starts unfolding, and
shaking
then it
out. Right.
looks like we have the same top two. I have a Jordan Travis at two. His stats aren't quite as good as
Oh, he didn't even play the full game. Like I said, they went out in second quarter or
that's
third quarter,
another
early
that's
third quarter.
another
So
reason why he stayed up there because he didn't
yeah,
play the whole game,
he
and
could.
he has a signature win. He has a signature win on him.
I could even consider dropping him down to third or fourth because he didn't play a full game and he don't have the full stats. But and that could come to hurt him in the Heisman race. But we have much bigger aspirations than him winning the Heisman, and he's not selfish, so he's not gonna try to get more than he needs. So as much as I'd like to say it, I don't know if he'll win because I could see a lot more of this, smaller stats because we're gonna be blowing a lot of teams out,
Yeah, that's what
unfortunately.
happened to two of the year Kyler won.
Yeah.
He was playing, like probably the best player in the country, but he was sitting out the second half of a big chunk of those
Oh, and then you're
games.
gonna have fucking Caleb Williams over here just fucking going sicko mode every week. Out there fighting for his goddamn life once conference play starts. He's gonna be throwing for 500 a game just to make him win because their defense is not good. So it's his stats are gonna be crazy because he's gonna have to be crazy to
He
win.
looks he looks better this year, which is I don't even know how that's possible.
So I don't really see Jordan Travis beating Caleb Williams unless Caleb Williams loses like 2 games
Which I think that's a strong
because
possibility.
he's not gonna be able to sit games like other than like this type of shit. I don't know why they're letting him sit in there for so long.
I really don't know either. I mean, he's got 90% completion in the last game. He's just
He's
he's
locked
this
in.
is this is this is my hot take. I think he might be the best college player to ever play the game. He could do
It,
everything and he does very little wrong.
if he comes
Very,
out
very
if he
little.
comes out this year, like at the end of the year with like more than this, and he's gonna have a because if he has more than this, and they only have like one loss, he's probably gonna go win back-to-back Heisman's, and he will probably go down as that. But it's gonna look weird too because there's gonna be an asterisk with no championship. Back-to-back Heisman, best college player ever, no championship.
No
But then
championship.
how are you gonna put him over like Joe Burrow and like Tebow in that conversation for like best college players of all time? Like
Yeah,
you
I
can't
mean
because he
Tebow
didn't
would be the
win.
one you would argue. I mean, Joe Burrow, I feel like could easily be argued against just because he just had that one really, really
Great,
good
that year
year.
was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, but it's kind of the same thing as Cam Newton. Like, obviously, he's
Oh
one of the
fuck, I forgot
best
about Cam Newton. Yeah,
of all time. Like, they both had really,
Vince
really
Young.
great
Yeah,
years. But I mean, Caleb Williams is going on his basically his third good year. I mean, he didn't play all of the year he was at OU, but he played like half of it and still had 21 touchdowns in like probably not even that many games, like 6 games, 5, 6 games.
I guess it's whether or not you value like winning or stats for like that best player of all time,
That's a
or
I
both,
think I
or do
think
you?
the
I don't think,
championship not him not having it is what's going to be the argument against him if he can't
or
win
even a
one.
Pac-12 championship because they didn't win it last year. Utah won, and I don't think they won it the year before.
Yeah, he was on OU the year before and he didn't
And I don't think USC won it that year either.
no, USC was terrible that
Yeah,
year.
so he's not going to have a conference championship potentially or a national championship, but have back-to-back Heisman's. Maybe
It's a
it's
strong but I
gonna be
think there's a good
wild.
chance he doesn't get it just because they don't like to give it to players twice. And I think if they
It's gonna be
lose
hard to
two
to
games, they're gonna deny him. I think
yeah. It's gonna be weird, man. That's gonna be a big. Look at his fucking ratings 240.5 through 3 games. That's
he's insane. He's just so insane. I'm so
so.
mad we don't have him anymore.
I'm so mad. Like
We
this is
could
the.
have.
I'm so mad. This is the year like Jordan Travis is like gonna potentially fight for a Heisman, and then this is dude he's fucking going up against. Like fuck, man.
I feel like
Stat
every week it's just gonna
machine.
be like Caleb Williams number 1, like
Yeah,
for a while until they lose one.
it'll be a lock till they drop a game, if they drop a game.
Yeah, coach is on the hot seat. I don't want to like reiterate like last week a whole lot.
I
Um,
added Houston's coach Dana Holgerson.
Holgerson, yeah.
Yeah, because they did lose a rivalry game to Rice. They just moved to the Big 12, so they kind of need to get shit going kind of quick. They don't want to become a bottom dweller in a new conference immediately. That's not gonna be good for recruiting.
No, I could definitely see him getting the boot at the end of the year. When you drop
Uh,
a game to Rice, that's a not a good look, especially after Rice got kind of no, I wouldn't say destroyed by Texas, but they lost 38-10 against Texas,
It's a
and
big loss. Is Rice
that's a
really that
team.
good?
Or yeah, who knows? Maybe Rice is just
Jesus.
really really good.
Oh, if I can keep going
um,
with that.
uh,
I
Jimbo
don't know.
Fisher's moving a lot higher. Like
Facts. If
he,
if they if he
yeah.
didn't get paid so much money and like his contract wasn't so big, he's gone. Like he would be gone.
Oh,
They,
absolutely. I was watching Paul Feinbaum and he was talking about if he has another bad season this year, it'll be $75 million they still owe him, and he was saying that it's not even gonna matter. It's not even gonna like they will just eat the $75 million just
yeah,
to be
get
good
him out.
again because it's not worth they're gonna be losing more money in the long run if they keep
Yeah.
him.
So
And Mel
he's
Tucker got fired too.
that kind of
That was an interesting development.
came out of left field. That man had a $80 million contract that he fucking flushed away.
He did. I did a lot of research on the whole thing, and
Yeah, I don't really know anything about it. So this is all you.
it's a it's all the info hasn't came out, so it's not for sure that he did anything wrong, but I'll say the accuser has a lot on him to where it makes her side more believable than
Right.
his side. She has like text messages, call logs, all kinds of stuff. None of the text messages were like him saying anything bad, but
All right.
she has call logs at the times where she said he did what he did over the phone, and there's other conversations with other people she has where she was discussing the whole thing. It's if Mel Tucker really did what she's saying, it's possibly the stupidest thing I've ever seen, because he brought her on to Michigan State to advocate against like sexual harassment, and I'm not gonna say the R word because I feel like it'll get us ad banned.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And
but
then
again,
just to turn around and potentially or allegedly do the same
to
thing
do
that
the same thing that he
he
brought her in, and
to
like, why would
advocate
you do that
against,
against? Why would you
especially
do
like
that to
that person of
her?
all people. Like what?
So
Like, did he not
I
think that
don't
was
know.
like gonna like she wasn't gonna say anything? Like what the fuck?
I bet you Michigan State's probably jumping for joy a little bit because they definitely wanted to find. He was in a Jimbo situation where they
Yeah,
just had so much money into him.
yeah. What if like yeah? Never mind. I wasn't
I
gonna.
know where you're going with that.
Yeah, because we talked about that, but it really does make sense. It would have to be some like next level shit for that to be true. Like some next level shit, spy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Um,
$80 is a lot of money, so anything could be done to not have to spend $80 million.
and they have their old coach
Oh,
D'Antonio, is that
fucking
his
yeah, he's like a consultant almost for the team.
yeah, he's
Like
gonna be on the sideline, I guess, the next game with a headset. He's not the interim coach, so
he's just helping
the
him
other
out.
guy is. Maybe he's trying to work his way to get his job back. I think if I'm Michigan State, I'm just gonna try to find a whole new fresh
Whole
face.
fresh face, yeah. I don't think they need to go back because they both parted ways for a reason. I don't remember if he got fired or not. I want to say he did. I don't
I
think
think they
he
forced a resignation on him
something
because
along
they
those
just weren't
lines.
performing very well.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a tough place to even like consider going into take that spot. Because now you're like, oh fuck, that's kind of like a tainted job.
And then they had the whole Larry Nasser thing with the gymnastics and all that. It's just
Yeah, it's
a
weird.
bad
It's
school.
bad luck. It's looking like
I
Penn
wouldn't take
State
that
type
job.
shit.
Yeah, it's
Who's
up there.
yeah, who's to know? Maybe more comes out anytime soon. Probably not, but you never know.
So yeah, Michigan State, I feel like they're kind of done for this year. I mean, they
Yeah.
weren't looking that good to begin with, but
You're
now
probably
it's
gonna see a lot of transfers start popping off out of Michigan State.
oh yeah, that's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I liked Mel Tucker at first, but he just couldn't get it done towards the end. And then with this new info coming out, it's just
I
sounds like
think
his career's over.
Kenneth Walker was the reason that Mel Tucker got $80 million.
That's what it's starting to look like.
Kenneth
That's really
Walker
what
was
it's
a
starting to look like.
beast. He was carrying that team.
Yeah, that was a sad way to go out.
Yeah, you
Sad
hate to
way
see
to
it.
go out.
Bye, Felicia. Yeah, nobody else really new on the coaches on the hot seat. I think all the people that were on there previously are still sitting there for the time being. Not
Yeah.
necessarily directly on the seat, but they're standing there waiting to sit down.
As the season goes along, we'll see some seats getting warmer and warmer.
Yeah.
And
Coach
I
of the
think this could
year,
be Jimbo's last year.
I think it is for sure. They're gonna find some way to get his ass out of there. And then I don't know the fuck he's gonna do after that. I'm sure some, bottom dweller conference team will hire him. Because
Like
he's not like
Baylor,
I
somebody
think he
will.
can coach, but not necessarily at a high level. I think he would be like he would get an average school some wins probably. Or
Yeah, he
what
could go to
any
like a middle tier
because
team
he
and
recruits pretty good. Obviously, his fucking recruiting classes are always good. So like he's doing something right in that department. It might not necessarily be the right group of players he's bringing in together every time, which is probably the problem.
I feel like what Texas A&M is doing would be perfectly
They're
acceptable at
buying,
like a Mississippi State or something.
yeah, they're just buying a team basically, and it's not working. They're throwing money at things, and it's not sticking. So
Yeah. Anyway,
not
coach of the
good.
year, just give it to Dion
I
at
did
this point.
Steve Sarkisian to the list.
Okay.
That's a big win for Texas, and I think that saved his job because he was kind of on the hot seat last year, and like they brought him in to do this thing that he just did and to bring Texas back. Like this was the guy that was supposed to do it, and he's you know brought all this fucking hype to Texas since he's been there, and every year he's like, all right, this is it, this is it, this is it. They got good recruiting classes, and then they just haven't performed. They've just been pretty average or bad for the most part. And now he's kind of seems like he's got him back. So if he has a good year, I think he could get it potentially over Dion.
Yeah, I mean it's a strong possibility. I think it's Dion's to lose as
Yeah,
long
like
as they don't just collapse completely. I think if they win 8 9 games, they just give it to
for
Dion. They
sure.
won one game last year. I
So yeah,
mean, geez.
they've already doubled that.
And they're playing Colorado State this weekend. It's a rivalry game, but I
I
think
think it's a blowout.
they're gonna win about 40-14 or something.
Something outrageous. I don't think they'll shut him out, but they'll put some points on him. You got any new predictions that you have announced?
No, the ones that we've already kind of mentioned. I think Missouri maybe beat K State. Mississippi State could possibly pull off the upset against LSU. Besides that, nothing really earth shattering. I think we've kind of already went through a lot of our predictions throughout the episode.
Yeah, or last week. I don't know, I saw Florida State winning the championship.
Hey, yeah, it's a possibility. This is
God damn, we look good.
looking like a good team.
It's got me all hot and bothered.
Yeah, we're pretty much towards the end of the episode. I don't know. You maybe want to touch on the NFL for a quick second and then call it
Uh,
an episode.
let's check the schedule for next week.
Yeah, we'll look at the
See
schedule.
the matchups we should be looking at. If anybody gives a shit.
Let's
Okay, we
see.
got LSU at Mississippi State that we were talking about. Kansas State at Missouri is gonna be good. One to keep an eye on. My fucking nose is itching so much. I think I got a hair like tickling me, and it's driving me crazy.
I had to sneeze like a few minutes ago, and I was just like, "Come on, no sneeze."
It's kind of a rough week. South Carolina at Georgia could be a potentially good game. We got North Carolina kind of on the upset alert with Minnesota coming in. I think
Yeah, I mean it's a possibility. Minnesota's not a terrible team. Um, Michigan State's gonna get beat so bad at home.
Tennessee, you can watch them blow out Florida in the swamp if you want. That'll be fun. I'll probably watch that because I love seeing Florida get blown out.
So
Dun, 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 dun,
South
dun.
Alabama gonna beat Oklahoma State.
Eh, I
Nah, it's
wouldn't
not
be
gonna happen.
surprised. I
But
wouldn't be surprised. Watch Stony Brook goes in and beats Arkansas State, so Butch Jones can get fired.
it's Arkansas State hasn't looked good this year.
BYU and Arkansas is
That's a good matchup.
that's kind of
Not top
appealing.
25 teams, but teams right outside of it.
I like this game. I'll probably be watching that one. Oh, Pitt at West Virginia. I think that they call that like the backyard brawl or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's a fun game. I watched it last year. It
I'm
was good.
definitely watching this one. These two teams fucking hate each other. And West Virginia, I forgot he's on their coach is on the hot seat. So if they lose this game, I
Yeah,
think he's done.
Neil Brown. Yeah, that's the
Um,
game of the week or ABC's game of the week. That's prime time ABC.
yeah, TCU at
Um,
Houston will be good. We'll see. We'll see.
is Wyoming really good? Could they could they beat Texas? I mean, they almost beat Texas Tech, and
I'll
Texas Tech
probably
almost beat
watch.
Oregon.
I'll probably watch that one. I think I should get this channel on
Yeah,
Hulu
it's on
Live.
Hulu. It's on
Uh,
Hulu. I mean,
I'll
Texas is probably going to win by
I'll
a
pop in
significant margin.
see what they're looking like. So nothing, not a crazy week, but there are some good non 25 matchups that we'll probably end up talking about next week. I know I tend to only look at the top 25 team or ranked teams, or maybe generally just outside of it for things to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think as the season goes along, there'll be more games outside the top 25 to kind of look at.
Yeah.
But right now we're just kind of getting a feel for what all the teams are doing. I think yeah, that what game were we just talking about? That was like a really good match. BYU and
Yeah.
that's going to be a really good matchup. That could possibly get the winner of that's probably getting into the top 25.
BYU and
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Yeah. And then
Yeah, the winner that gets
Arkansas,
in.
they're playing somebody big the week after that. So this could be a good game for Arkansas to maybe get some motivation to upset somebody.
I love Arkansas. I don't
I
know
do
why I
too.
like that team. They're like one of my probably like top five favorite teams in college football right now.
Yeah, have you seen that movie? It's about Arkansas, and there's like this kid. It's like an older movie. He like walks onto Arkansas. He's like an offensive lineman or some shit, and he like I don't want to spoil it because it's actually kind of a crazy like thing that happens, but they end up like naming something after him, or I don't know, something crazy happens with this kid, but it's a really good movie. You fucking find this. I'm not
Uh,
explaining this movie good at all.
no.
That sounds terrible. I was
I'm
like,
like I feel like you're explaining the plot to Rudy to me, but that was Notre Dame.
let's see. What the fuck's this movie called? I think it's called It's called Greater. It came out in 2016. So let me find the little fucking plot. So I don't sound like a jackass.
I was like, "Are you talking about Rudy?" But I was like, "No, that ain't right."
Okay, it's about this guy. His name's Brandon Burtlesworth. Possibly the greatest walk-on in the history of college football. I guess he dreamed of playing for Arkansas forever. He's considered too short and fat to play Division I football. He walked on in '94, and he actually ended up making the team, which nobody thought he was going to. Dun, dun, dun. He's the first Razorback to earn a bachelor's and master's degree while playing. Dun, dun, dun. He ended up becoming the most respected player in the history of the program. Oh yeah, that just gave me chills reading like all of it. It's a fucking great movie.
I'll have to check it out. I love a good football movie. Nothing better than a good football movie.
It's a good one. It's not necessarily it's not even really about like him playing football. It's just about like necessarily like him as a person, like in the things he did and how he affected all these people. Really good.
Definitely have to check it out. Arkansas, great school. I don't
Fucking
know why I like them so much.
what's their saying? It's like hot no, is it Hotty Toddy or is that Ole Miss? I think that's Ole Miss. Is
My
it? Is it like is it Arkansas?
Hotty Toddy, or is that Tennessee?
Nah, I don't think it's Tennessee.
It could be Arkansas then.
Fuck. Oh well, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of the week for this week. And you don't got anything pressing you need to touch on? I don't either. Still pretty early in the season. As the year goes on, we start touching on, playoff rankings, maybe some recruiting topics towards the end of the year if something crazy kind of happens. But that's all we got for this week. So see you guys next week.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.